Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Vocational Education and Training, SOVET, Master's Degree Programs, Master of Science, Information Security, MSCIS, Semester 4, MSE 033 Web Application Testing and Audit, Block 1 Web Fundamentals and its Security, Unit-1 Introduction to Web Security Protocols, 1.1 Introduction. Web security is also known as cybersecurity. Web security means securing a website or web application by detecting, preventing, and responding to cyber threats. Websites and web applications are prone to security breaches just like physical homes, stores, and government locations are prone to physical security breaches. Unfortunately, cybercrime can take place anytime, every day. Because of this, proper web security measures are needed to secure websites and web applications from cyber attacks. Web security consists of a system of protocols and security measures that are required to protect websites and web application from unauthorized access or cyber hacking. This information, security mechanisms and measures are essential nowadays for the protection of websites, web applications, and web services. Every application that is designed to be used over the internet should have some web security mechanism to protect it against cyber attacks. Different types of checkpoints and techniques are employed to protect websites or applications and make it secure. There are some security standards proposed by the Open Web Application Security Project (OWASP) Foundation. These standards must to be followed while designing and implementation of all web applications. Most experienced web developers who are designing web applications usually follow these OWASP standards and keep track of recent hacking incidents to learn when, how, and why different web applications and services are being hacked. Some of the essential steps required for securing web applications and services are a. Use of powerful encryption techniques, b. Use of proper authentication techniques. Confidentiality is sometimes referred to as privacy, and it is the prevention of unauthorized disclosure of the information. It is implemented using some data protection mechanisms and allows access of data to authorized users only while disallowing others from getting any clue about the contents. It ensures that all essential information reaches the right person but prevents it from reaching the wrong people. To ensure confidentiality, data encryption and decryption algorithms are used. Data integrity ensures that the data is real, accurate, and is safeguarded from unauthorized modification by users. Integrity is the property that stored or transmitted information has not to be tampered by unauthorized users and ensures that the source of the information is genuine. Availability ensures that authorized users can gain access to the information in a timely fashion. It guarantees reliable and constant access to our sensitive data by authorized people. 1.3 Importance of Web Security Protocols. Awareness. All proper safety procedures begin at the awareness stage. Individuals must know about the security threat and what they can do to combat it. It is a fact that cyber security is an important facet of business that should be handled appropriately. All types of industries are exposed to cyber threats. Breaking down the businesses by their respective sectors, there have already been some troubling statistics observed. 84% of all government organizations, 80% of banking and financial institutions, 72% of telecommunications and information organizations, 70% of healthcare groups, and 62% of insurance organizations have all been targeted by cybercrime activities. The top crimes in these industries include incidents such as identity theft and confidential records being compromised or stolen, sometimes files and systems may be altered as well, and in other instances criminals will connect to a system or network outside of their permission. There are various causes for such breaches that all professionals should be aware of. The vast majority of these concerns arise from malware infections, which stand at a frightening 44% of all incidents. 30% of all incidents come from accidents that occur on the inside, usually because of an employee or company system. 27% of incidents are a result of hacking attempts. 26% occur because of SQL injections, while 24% occur because of a compromised password. In 19% of all the incidents, the attack was intentional or targeted at the corporation to achieve a certain goal. As far as human errors are concerned, this is one of the easiest to control aspect of cyber security breaches. All business owners should instruct their employees to be careful in their approach to the internet and the company. The vast majority of the problems are divided into two categories: password problems and malware and phishing issues. Over 30,000 websites are infected with malware problems daily, and it is up to the employees of the company to know how to uphold the proper security procedures to the best effect. All types of breaches can have terrible consequences. 7% of United States corporations have lost $1 million or more because of cybercrimes. 19% of other United States corporations have lost between $50,000 and $1 million. In addition to the direct financial consequences, businesses may be subjected to other issues. Corporations may take a major hit in their reputation and brand name, in addition to lost time and productivity that could have helped the company move forward instead. Almost 46% of all breaches are accidentally found. On the other hand, 42% of active monitoring systems were able to identify breaches before they had the chance to become a serious issue. 23% of all detections occurred because of a third party or affiliated company notifying the one being breached. In 19% of situations, an audit or general assessment was able to locate the breach and deal with it appropriately. For all businesses to stay on top of their company's cyber security systems, it is vital for them to practice careful browsing and to be prudent in planning their safety measures. C. Immediately patching identified vulnerabilities. D. Practicing secure software development practices to avoid data thefts. Despite of all these security practices, clever attackers are competent enough to find flaws even in a robust secured web application environment. 1.2 Objectives. Web security protocols are designed to protect information from being stolen, compromised, or attacked. These web security protocols have three major goals. 1. Ensure the confidentiality of data. 2. Preserve the integrity of data. 3. Ensure the availability of services and data for authorized users. These three security goals form a triad called CIA: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. These three security goals are the foundation of all the security protocols and mechanisms. The CIA triad is treated as a security model that is policy guidelines for information security measures implemented within the premises of an organization or company. This security model is also referred to as the AIC, availability, integrity, and confidentiality triad. The three goals of the triad are considered the three most critical components of any information security implementation. The CI triad is used by most of the organizations while installing new web applications, creating a database, or guaranteeing access to some stored data. To ensure the security of stored data and information, all three security goals must come into effect. These are security policies that all work together and therefore they cannot be overlooked. Confidentiality is sometimes referred to as privacy, and it is the prevention of unauthorized disclosure of the information. It is implemented using some data protection mechanisms and allows access of data to authorized users only while disallowing others from getting any clue about the contents. It ensures that all essential information reaches the right person but prevents it from reaching the wrong people. To ensure confidentiality, data encryption and decryption algorithms are used. Data integrity ensures that the data is real, accurate, and is safeguarded from unauthorized modification by users. Integrity is the property that stored or transmitted information has not to be tampered by unauthorized users and ensures that the source of the information is genuine. Availability ensures that authorized users can gain access to the information in a timely fashion. It guarantees reliable and constant access to our sensitive data by authorized people. 1.3 Importance of Web Security Protocols. Awareness. All proper safety procedures begin at the awareness stage. Individuals must know about the security threat and what they can do to combat it. It is a fact that cybersecurity is an important facet of business that should be handled appropriately. All types of industries are exposed to cyber threats. Breaking down the businesses by their respective sectors, there have already been some troubling statistics observed. 84% of all government organizations, 80% of banking and financial institutions, 72% of telecommunications and information organizations, 70% of healthcare groups, and 62% of insurance organizations have all been targeted by cybercrime activities. The top crimes in these industries include incidents such as identity theft and confidential records being compromised or stolen. Sometimes files and systems may be altered as well, and in other instances criminals will connect to a system or network outside of their permission. There are various causes for such breaches that all professionals should be aware of. The vast majority of these concerns arise from malware infections, which stand at a frightening 44% of all incidents. 30% of all incidents come from accidents that occur on the inside, usually because of an employee or company system. 27% of incidents are a result of hacking attempts. 26% occur because of SQL injections, while 24% occur because of a compromised password. In 19% of all the incidents, the attack was intentional or targeted at the corporation to achieve a certain goal. As far as human errors are concerned, this is one of the easiest to control aspect of cybersecurity breaches. All business owners should instruct their employees to be careful in their approach to the internet and the company. The vast majority of the problems are divided into two categories: password problems and malware and phishing issues. Over 30,000 websites are infected with malware problems daily, and it is up to the employees of the company to know how to uphold the proper security procedures to the best effect. All types of breaches can have terrible consequences. 7% of United States corporations have lost $1 million or more because of cybercrimes. 19% of other United States corporations have lost between $50,000 and $1 million. In addition to the direct financial consequences, businesses may be subjected to other issues. Corporations may take a major hit in their reputation and brand name, in addition to lost time and productivity that could have helped the company move forward instead. Almost 46% of all breaches are accidentally found. On the other hand, 42% of active monitoring systems were able to identify breaches before they had the chance to become a serious issue. 23% of all detections occurred because of a third party or affiliated company notifying the one being breached. In 19% of situations, an audit or general assessment was able to locate the breach and deal with it appropriately. For all businesses to stay on top of their company's cyber security systems, it is vital for them to practice careful browsing and to be prudent in planning their safety measures. 1.4 HTTPS Protocol, Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, HTTPS, is an extension of the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTP. It is widely used on the Internet and is utilized for secure communication over a computer network. HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, is the secure version of HTTP, which is the standard protocol for sending data between a web browser and a website. HTTPS is a secure protocol that encrypts data transmission. This is especially important when consumers share sensitive information, such as when they sign into a ledger, email system, or healthcare provider. 1.4.1 Introduction to HTTPS. Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure is a robust and secure version of the conventional HTTP, HTTPS. HTTPS encrypts communication between a program, client, and the website server. The protocol is encoded using Transport Layer Security, TLS, or Secure Sockets Layer, SSL. In HTTPS, SSL. 1.4.2 Difference between HTTP, HTTPS, and SHTTP. Look at the screen. 1.4.3 How does HTTPS work? HTTPS is simply the HTTP protocol with a substantial layer of SSL/TLS encryption on top of it. It's what keeps your passwords, correspondences, and credit card data safe on the wire between your PC and the servers you need to send this information to. Unless something goes wrong, which it can, it's what keeps people like the scandalous Eve from surveying or changing the requests that make up your reading experience. It's what keeps your passwords, correspondences, and credit card data safe on the wire between your PC and the servers you need to send this information to. While the little green lock and the letters HTTPS in your address bar does not imply that there isn't enough rope for both you and the site you are evaluating to hang themselves somewhere else, they do assist you in navigating safely. 1.5 SSL TLS Protocol, SSL, Secure Socket Layer, and TLS, Transport Layer Security, are well-known cryptographic protocols that are used to ensure the integrity, security, and strength of web exchanges against unauthorized modification. TLS is primarily used to establish a customer-server connection, but it is also used to secure messages, VoIP calls, and other connections. 1.5.1 What are SSL and TLS protocols? The Secure Sockets Layer, or SSL, was the moniker given to the protocol when it was first constructed in the 1990s by Netscape, the company that created the most well-known web software at the time. SSL 1.0 was never widely deployed, and SSL 2.0 had significant issues. SSL 3.0 was entirely revamped in 1996, and it set the tone for what was to follow. TLS, Transport Layer Security, is a more secure version of SSL that has been improved. Because SSL is a more frequently recognized term, we refer to our security declarations as SSL. However, when you buy SSL from DigiCert, you are getting the best TLS endorsements with the option of ECC, RSA, or DSA encryption. 1.5.2 Why are they necessary? SSL, Secure Sockets Layer, is a well-known public key encryption system that was first developed by Netscape. SSL is a web security standard that protects web browsers, online financial transactions, and sensitive information. TLS, Transport Layer Security, is an Internet security standard that ensures communication between transmitting apps and their clients is secure. SSL and TLS are both used to encrypt private data transferred across an unstable network like the Internet. SSL or TLS is required for web-based shopping websites and other websites that need to move information or conduct online financial transactions to keep client information safe from programmers. The importance and advantages. A. Provides authentication. B. Crucial for accepting payments. C. Prevent phishing attacks. D. Increase customer trust and confidence. E. Encrypt website data and information. F. Improve Google search ranking. 1.5.3 Difference between SSL and TLS. Look at the screen. 1.5.4 What are SSL TLS certificates? Secure Sockets Layer SSL certificates, also known as Transport Layer Security TLS certificates, are needed to encrypt data and secure Internet browser connections and transactions. Behind the scenes, TLS SSL is the industry standard security technology that protects your online transactions and logins. 1.5.5 How does SSL TLS work? Secure Sockets Layer, or SSL, is a mechanism for encrypting and securing Internet connections. Even though TLS, Transport Layer Security, has long since supplanted SSL, the word SSL is still extensively used to refer to this technology. SSL TLS is most typically used to secure client-server interactions, but it can also be used to secure email, VoIP, and other types of communications over insecure networks. To understand how SSL TLS works, you must first learn the following concepts. During the TLS handshake, the two communicating parties produce session keys, which are used to encrypt and decrypt any subsequent conversations. TLS ensures that the party on the server side or the website the user is dealing with is functioning safely by using different session keys for each new session. TLS further assures that data is not tampered with since it includes a message authentication code (MAC). With transmissions, TLS encrypts both HTTP data sent by users to websites by clicking, filling out forms, etc., and HTTP data sent by websites to users. The recipient must use a key to unlock encrypted data. 1.6 SET Protocols. 1.6.1 Introduction to SET Protocol. Secure Electronic Transaction. SET protocol is a communications protocol designed for e-commerce websites to accept payments electronically using debit and credit cards. SET protocol ensures secure transmission of customers' credit-debit card information via e-commerce portals on the Internet. Secure electronic transaction protocols transmit card details in a secure way so that e-commerce merchants, hackers, and electronic thieves do not have access to the card and payment details. The Secure Electronic Transaction (SET) system uses a set of encryption, hashing, and digital signature methods to safeguard the security and integrity of card-based electronic transactions. 1.6.2 What are different SET functionalities? A. Provide authentication. B. Merchant authentication. SET allows customers to analyze previous merchant financial institution transactions to prevent identity theft. Standard X.509v3 certificates are utilized for this verification. C. SET validates whether a credit card is being used by an authorized user or whether X.509v3 certificates are being utilized. D. Maintain message confidentiality. Message confidentiality refers to not allowing unintended recipients to see the message that is being sent. E. To provide confidentiality, SET employs encryption techniques This has been around for a long time and is a sort of encryption. F. Provide message integrity. SET does not allow signatures to be used to modify messages. RSA digital signatures using SHA-1 and HMAC with SHA-1 are used to safeguard messages from unauthorized change. 1.6.3 What are different participants in SET in the general scenario of online transactions? SET includes similar participants: 1. Cardholder, customer; 2. Issuer, customer financial institution; 3. Merchant; 4. Acquirer, merchant financial; 5. Certificate authority, authority that follows certain standards and issues certificates, like X.509V3. To all other participants, Figure 2. Connection between SET participants. Look at the screen. 1.6.4 How does SET work? Like all other protocols, the SET protocol is built on a sequence of message exchanges: the consumer, the vendor, and a network of banks are all involved in 10 phases, message exchanges, of a transaction. The following are the sequence of operations involved in an electronic transaction. The first two message exchanges are between the customer and merchant to proclaim their intent to do business. In the next step, they exchange their certificates and assign a transaction ID to this transaction. After the initial handshake, the customer sends the merchant a message containing purchase details along with a signed hash of the products, items, services ordered by the customer, which is negotiated outside of the protocol. Also attached with this, the customer's credit card details, which are encrypted and not accessible to the merchant, but accessible to the merchant's acquirers. The next step is to process and handle the authorization of the customer's order request. At this point, the merchant can either acknowledge the customer's order request first and then seek authorization, or do the authorization first and then confirm the customer's order request. The customer's request will be forwarded to the vendor's acquiring bank. The acquiring bank will reformat the request and send it via a bank card network to the bank that issued the consumer's credit card. The issuer bank will then respond to the acquiring bank, and the acquiring bank will inform the vendor of the conclusion. The next two steps provide the consumer with a query feature, allowing them to check on the purchase's status information. Finally, in the last two steps, the merchant can submit authorizations for capture and settlement. It works is as follows. At the time of delivery of goods or services, the merchant will submit a capture request to its own acquiring bank to obtain payment. The acquiring bank then sends this request over the bank card network to the issuing bank for payment settlement. 1.7 PM Protocol, PM, Protection Enhanced Mail, is an email security standard that allows for safe electronic mail communication over the Internet to provide privacy, sender validation, and message integrity. PM employs a variety of cryptographic mechanisms. The message integrity views enable the client to ensure that a message has not been tampered with during transmission from the sender. The sender validation feature allows a client to verify that the PM message they received came from the person who claims to have sent it. The privacy feature allows a message to be hidden from recipients who have not received it. Email message security has become increasingly important in recent years. The Web Engineering Board has taken on the task of managing message security issues. 1.7.1 What are different services provided by PM? PM showcases a variety of safety features. Originator validation, discretionary, message, privacy, and information trustworthiness are all included. The term privacy refers to the act of preventing unauthorized access to data and thereby securing it. PM achieves privacy by scrambling communications using several standard calculations such as the data encryption standard, DES. PEM is now utilizing this in the figure block fastening mode. Normalized cryptographic calculations are used to implement message secrecy in PEM. Both symmetric and asymmetrical encryption calculations are described in RFC 1423, which can be used in PEM key administration and message encryption. The data encryption standard, DES, in cipher block chaining, CBC, mode is now the most common normalized computation for message encryption. This is now normalized for symmetric key management in both electronic code book (ECB) and encrypt-decrypt-encrypt (ED) modes using a handful of 64-bit keys. The term information data integrity refers to the consistency of data for its life cycle. This is accomplished by applying a one-of-a-kind concept known as a message digest, in which message digest is a hash operation that converts a message into a picture known as digest when the message is accepted as information. PEM generates the summaries using RSA encryption, MD2, and MD5 hash capabilities. The hash capacity is used to build an octet value, which is then scrambled and compared to the message digest by the recipient to ensure that the message is correct. 1.7.2 How does PEM work? Canonical conversion. The message is converted into a standard organization that is free of the PC design as well as the senders and collectors activity arrangements. In the event that the sender and recipient have different PC engineering or operating systems, it may cause the age of various message digests due to differences in their translation due to linguistic differences between working frameworks. Digital signature. The advanced mark is created by encoding the message review of an email message with the sender's private key in this progression. Encryption. As shown in the diagram below, the scrambled message is created by combining the first message and digital signature with the symmetric key. To obtain privacy, this step is really important. Base 64 encoding. This is the final step in the progression, where the paired yield is converted to character yield. The 24-piece parallel yield is divided into 4 equal sets and paired with the 8-bit character yield to produce a decimal code. Currently, PEM uses a different guide table, and each number from the code generated is planned with its corresponding esteem from the planning table, and two-fold comparable to the person's 8-bit MSCIS is composed. 1.8 PGP protocol. PGP stands for Pretty Good Privacy. PGP, a protocol created by Phil Zimmermann. PGP was designed to provide each of the 4 aspects of email security, namely security, trustworthiness, verification, and non-announcement. 1.8.1 What is PGP? PGP is a key pair based encoding, unscrambling, and marking convention for messages and records. PGP is primarily used for scrambling communications at the application layer and is typically used for one-on-one encoded information. Pretty Good Privacy, PGP, is an encryption application that provides information communication with cryptographic protection and verification. PGP is used to secure email correspondences by marking, encrypting, and decoding texts, messages, records, registries, and full plate bundles. 1.8.2 How does PGP encryption work? PGP is a protocol that combines the best aspects of both classical and public key encryption into a single package. PGP is a type of hybrid cryptography. When a client uses PGP to encrypt plaintext, the plaintext is first packed. While boosting cryptographic security, information pressure reduces modem transmission time and plate space. The majority of cryptanalysis approaches rely on plaintext designs to break the code. The number of examples in the plaintext is reduced when pressure is applied, significantly improving cryptanalysis protection. Records. that are either too short or do not pack well are not compacted. At that point, PGP generates a meeting key, which is a one-time only mystery key. This key generates a random number based on your mouse's irregular movements and the keystrokes you type. This meeting key scrambles the plaintext using a typical encryption algorithm that is extremely secure and quick. The output is ciphertext. The meeting key is encrypted and given to the beneficiary's public key after the data has been encoded. Along with the ciphertext, the beneficiary receives this public key encoded meeting key. Look at the screen, Figure 3. How PGP encryption functions. The process of decoding works in the opposite direction. PGP recovers the brief meeting key using the beneficiary's private key, which PGP then uses to unscramble the regularly scrambled ciphertext. The combination of the two encryption algorithms combines the convenience of public key encryption with the speed of conventional encryption. Encryption using a private key takes 1000 times longer than encryption with a public key. As a result, public key encryption solves the concerns of key distribution and data transfer. Execution and key appropriation improve when utilized in tandem without affecting security keys. A key is a value that is used in conjunction with a cryptographic calculation to deliver a certain ciphertext. Keys are, in essence, absurdly large numbers. The size of a key is measured in bits, and the number of people who can address a 1024-bit key is enormous. The larger the key in open key cryptography, the safer the ciphertext. Nonetheless, the size of the public key and the mysterious key size used in traditional cryptography is completely meaningless. An ordinary 80-bit key is equivalent to a 1024-bit public key in terms of strength. A 3000-bit public key is comparable to a typical 128-bit key. Again, the larger the key, the safer it is. However, the calculations used for each type of cryptography are completely different, and as a result, the examination mimics that of illogical. While persons and private keys are numerically connected, inferring the private key from just the public key is exceedingly difficult. Nonetheless, given enough time and processing power, inferring the private key is consistently possible. As a result, it's critical to choose keys that are the correct size, big enough to be secure but small enough to be applied quickly. Furthermore, you must evaluate who might be attempting to read your information, who they are, how long they have, and what assets they may have. For a longer period, larger keys will be cryptographically secure. If you need to scramble something that will be hidden for a long time, you should use a very large key. Obviously, no one can predict how long it will take to determine your key using the next faster, more powerful PCs. A 56-bit symmetric key was once thought to be extremely secure. Keys are stored in an encrypted format. On your hard drive, PGP keeps the keys in two records, one for public keys and one for private keys. Keyrings are the name for these documents. When you utilize PGP, you'll usually add your beneficiary's general population keys to your public keyring. Your personal keys are kept on a private keychain. If you lose your private keyring, you will be unable to recover any data encrypted to the keys on that ring. 1.8.3 Advantage and disadvantage of PGP encryption. The strongest advantage of PGP encryption is the computation strength. It is commonly used by people who need to receive their private communications and is regarded as a key method for improving cloud security. This is because PGP makes it impossible for a programmer, a country, state, or a government body to hack into PGP encrypted records or messages. Nonetheless, there have been reports of security flaws in some PGP implementations, such as eFail, which was a flaw in OpenPGP and SMIME start-to-finish encryption advances. Limitations, disadvantages. With the headway of cryptography, portions of PGP have been censured for being dated. A. The long length of PGP public keys. B. Trouble for the clients to appreciate and poor usability. C. Absence of ubiquity. D. Absence of forward secrecy. The Roca vulnerability was found in October 2017 and affects RSA keys generated by faulty, Infineon firmware on YubiKey 4 tokens, which are extensively used with PGP. Many widely used PGP keys have been discovered to be insecure. 1.9 IKE Internet Key Exchange for the remote host, network, and virtual private network VPN access. The Internet Key Exchange IKE protocol is utilized. IKE allows two parties to communicate securely over the Internet. It's a key management convention for establishing a security affiliation (SA) with the help of Internet Protocol Security (IPsec). IKE employs pre-shared or delivered X.509 declarations to validate and a Diffie-Hellman key transaction to hide a common meeting from which cryptographic keys are deduced prior to producing the private key, common mystery, that makes phase 2 or subsequent interchanges safe. IKE establishes a verified association between the host and client in phase 1, 1.9.1. Introduction to IKE. The Internet Key Exchange, IKE, also known as IKV1 or IKV2, depending on form, convention, is used to establish a security association in the IPsec convention suite, SA. IKE elaborates on the Oakley Convention and ISEM. IKE establishes a mysterious common meeting from which cryptographic keys are generated using X.509 endorsements for confirmation, either pre-shared or appropriated using DNS, ideally with DNS-SEC, and a Diffie-Hellman key transmission. You should also have a physical security strategy in place for each body with whom you will interact. IKE is required for the Internet Security Protocol, IPsec, which is in charge of establishing security affiliations, SAS, which are a collection of agreed-upon keys and calculations to be used by the two players attempting to establish a VPN connection. Borrow 1.9.2 IKE versions, IKV1 stages. The goal of IKE Stage 1 is to construct a secure confirmed communication channel by using the Diffie-Hellman key exchange computation to generate a common mystery key to scramble future IKE exchanges. This configuration creates a single bidirectional ISEM security association, SA. Pre-shared key, shared mystery, markings, or public key encryption can all be used to confirm the identity. Phase 1 operates in one of two modes, main or aggressive. Principal mode encrypts the companion's personalities and the hash of the shared key, whereas aggressive mode does not. During IKE Stage 2, the IKE peers use the safe divert established in Phase 1 to set up security associations for various administrations such as IPsec. At least two unidirectional security associations result from the exchange, one inbound and one outbound. Phase 2 only operates in quick mode. Issues with IKE. Initially, IKE featured a variety of configuration options, but it lacked a central office for the automated setting of a well-known default case that is frequently used. As a result, the two sides of an IKE had to agree precisely on the type of safety affiliation they needed to form. Alternative, by choice, or the IKE could not be formed. Further misunderstandings arose from the fact that the examine yield was difficult to discern in several executions if there was any office to deliver symptomatic yield at all. The IKE determinations were available to a critical level of understanding, bordering on plan flaws, dead peer detection being one example. resulting in some IKE executions not having the option to make a settled-on security relationship at all. For some mixes of alternatives, but accurately arranged, they may show up at one or the other. IKE version 2. IKE version 2 is an improvement to the Internet Key Trade Convention. With RFC 4306, the ETF created IKE variation 2, IKV2. IKV2 increases the capacity for arranging powerful key trades and verifying VPN arranging frameworks. IKV2 also works on the main trade streams and acquaints measures with the fixes for the ambiguities and flaws in IKV1. IKV2 gives a more straightforward message stream to key trade arrangements. IKV2 gives alternatives to Reke IK_SA without reauthentication. With IKV2, the key lifetimes for the IK_SA and child_SA are overseen autonomous of the companion framework. IKV2 is the reason for future improvements to the Key Trade Convention. Both the IKV1 and IKV2 conventions have two stages of operation. The following are some of the differences between the two conventions. IKE-SA, which consists of the message pair IKE-SA INIT, is the first stage in IKV2. The key exchange policy defines the attributes of the IKE-SA stage. Child-SA is the second stage in IKV2. The IK-auth message pair is the main child-SA. For Reke and illuminating messages, more child-SA message sets can be delivered. In the data policy, the child-SA ascribes is defined. IKV2 allows for more efficient and less complicated exchange. There are two possible exchanges in IKV1: Stage 1, main mode, and forceful mode. The Stage 1 and Stage 2 configurations in primary mode are split into two stages. Stage 1's primary mode requires 6 messages to complete, whereas Stage 2's rapid mode just requires 3. These modes are consolidated into a 4-message grouping in IKV2. The IKE-SA is formed and validated first, followed by the child-SA, which is created in 4 messages. The child-SA rekeying that results are cultivated into messages. Regardless of these differences, the two adaptations have a remarkably similar end outcome. Both IKV1 and IKV2 establish a security relationship between two endpoints to ensure data security. 1.9.3 Difference between IKE and IPsec. IKE stands for Internet Key Exchange Protocol. The Internet Security Association and Key Management Protocol is a component of the IKE process. Fundamentally, IKE encrypts data by authenticating peers and exchanging key material. The Security Association is the result of this protocol dance. Once the Security Association is established, IPsec transport sends encrypted data. IPsec is unconcerned with the authentication and key exchange process. It only uses the outcome. By the way, IPsec does not necessitate the use of a VPN. Both transport, direct, and tunnel (VPN) modes are supported by IPsec. For a variety of reasons, the tunnel mode is far more popular. IKE is used to keep the IPsec connection rekeyed on a regular basis. IKE and IPsec work together. 1.10 Radius Remote Authentication Dial in User Service. Radius Remote Authentication Dial in User Service is an Internet standard that provides unified validation, bookkeeping, and IP administrations for remote access clients in a dial-up network. A network access server, NAS, serves as a customer to a Radius worker in the Radius customer-worker architecture. Using the Radius Standard Convention defined in RFC 2865, the framework, acting as the NAS, provides client and association data to an allocated Radius worker. Livingstone Enterprises developed Radius in 1991 as a validation and bookkeeping standard for entry workers. It was later incorporated into the Internet Engineering Task Force's IETF rules. Radius is a client-server application layer protocol that can use TCP or UDP. Organization access. Workers usually have a Radius customer portion that communicates with the Radius server and controls access to the organization. For 802.1x authentication, Radius is typically the backend of choice. A Radius worker is usually a Unix or Microsoft Windows Foundation interaction. 1.10.1 Discuss various Radius components. In the same way that other conventions do, Radius uses a customer worker model. Requests are sent to a Radius worker by a Radius client, also known as a Network Access Server or NAS. The Radius worker then evaluates the request and provides a response. NAS components include remote tunnels, such as the Linksys WRT54G, and dial-up gear, which is widely available from large organization manufacturers. Radius worker products include Cisco, ISE, Microsoft NPS, Steel-Belted Radius, Open Systems Radiator, and FreeRDIOS, while the Radius protocol and other protocols such as HTTP and SMTP share the basic concept of customer-worker communication. The Radius interchanges have diverse areas of interest. The sections that follow go through the Radius structure in further detail, covering the functions of the NAS and workers, as well as data sets like MySQL and Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, LDAP. 1.10.2 What are various features of Radius protocol? Some of the features of Radius are times for the AA system. There is an open standard convention that may be used between any selling device and a Cisco ACS worker. Times it uses UDP as a communications protocol. Times for validation and approval, it uses UDP port 1812. And for bookkeeping, it uses UDP port 1813. Times only the passwords of AA bundles are encoded if the device and ACS worker are both using Radius. Times there is no way to carry out an unequivocal order approval. Times it provides more comprehensive bookkeeping assistance than TAKAX. Times verification and approval are tied together in Radius. 1.10.3 How does Radius protocol work? When the Radius worker receives a verification request, the request is authorized. After that, the Radius worker unscrambles the information packet to access the client's name and secret word data. The information is sent to the appropriate security framework, which is in place. Unix, secret phrase documents, Kerberos, a commercial security framework, or even a uniquely evolved security framework might all be examples. Any administrations that the validated client is authorized to use, such as an IP address, are sent back to the framework by the Radius worker. Similarly, range bookkeeping requirements are met. The bookkeeping data of a remote client can be sent to a Radius bookkeeping worker. RFC 2866 describes the Radius bookkeeping standard convention. By logging the data from the Radius bookkeeping demand, the Radius bookkeeping worker follows up on received accounting demands. The user datagram protocol is used to communicate between an organization access worker (NAS) and a Radius worker (UDP). In general, the Radius protocol is regarded as a connectionless aid. The Radius-enabled devices, rather than the transmission convention, handle issues such as worker accessibility, retransmission, and breaks. Customers and staff attend the SPAN convention. The Radius client is typically a NAS, and the Radius worker is typically a Unix or Windows NT daemon. The customer sends client information to Radius workers and tracks their responses. Sweep personnel accept client association requests, verify the client, and then give the customer the setup data they need to deliver service to the client. A radius worker can function as a go-between for other radius workers and different sorts of validation staff. The cooperation between a dial-in client and the radius customer and worker is depicted in this diagram, Figure 5, Radius Protocol working. Look at the screen. The client starts PPE validation to the NAS. If Password Authentication Protocol (PAP) is used, the NAS will ask for a username and secret key, or it will issue a challenge. If Challenge Handshake Authentication Protocol (CHAP) the client responds, the radius worker receives the username and scrambled secret key from the span customer. Accept, reject, or challenge are the responses of the span worker. The radius client monitors administrations and administrations borders that have been packed with accept or reject verification and authorization. To validate a client, a radius employee can utilize a variety of approaches. When the client provides the username and unique secret word, it can support PPE, PAP or CHAP, Unix login, and other validation components. A typical client login entails sending a NAS request, access request, to the radius worker, followed by receiving a response from the worker, access accept or access reject. The access request package contains the username, scrambled secret phrase, NAS IP address, and port. Radius was originally configured to use UDP port 1645, which is incompatible with the administration of data metrics. As a result of this disagreement, RFC 2865 authoritatively assigned port number 1812 to radius. One of two port number configurations is supported by most Cisco devices and apps. The format of the request also provides details about the type of meeting the consumer desires. The conclusion is administration type is equal to executive user if the question is posed in character mode, but administration type is equal to framed user and outlined type is equal to PPE if the question is asked in PPE bundle mode. When the radius worker receives an access request from the NAS, it looks up the username in a database. The radius worker either builds a default profile or sends an access reject message if the username isn't found in the database. This access reject message can be followed by an explanation of why the rejection was made. In radius, the terms confirmation and approval are interchangeable. The radius worker responds with an access accept response that includes a list of characteristic esteem combinations that reflect the meeting's bounds if the login is found and the secret phrase is correct. Common constraints include the sort of help, shell or described, convention type, IP address to allocate the client, static or dynamic, access rundown to apply, and a static course to introduce in the NAS steering table. The setup data for the radius worker explains what will be placed on the NAS. The graphic below depicts the radius verification and approval procedure. Radius validation and approval can freely use the accounting parts of the radius convention. The bookkeeping capabilities of radius allow information to be delivered at the start and end of meetings, displaying the number of assets, such as time, parcels, bytes, and so on, used throughout the meeting. To address exceptional security and charging needs, an Internet Specialist Cooperative (ISP) may use radius access control and accounting programming. For most Cisco devices, the radius bookkeeping port is 1646, although it can also be 1813. On account of the adjustment of ports as determined in RFC 2139 leaving Cisco. A common mystery is used to confirm exchanges between the client and the radius worker. This mystery is never sent across the enterprise. Furthermore, client passwords are delivered, encrypted between the customer and the Radius worker to eliminate the possibility that someone on a shaky network could figure out a client's secret key. 1.10.4 Advantage and disadvantage of Radius protocol. Benefit: times because it is an open standard, it can potentially be used by a variety of devices. Times TACACS offers more comprehensive bookkeeping support. Weakness: because Radius uses UDP, it is less trustworthy than TACACS. There is no way to carry out an unequivocal order approval. Only the passwords are encoded by span. It does not guarantee different information, such as a username. 1.11 Summary: this unit presents various web security protocols in detail. It starts with objectives and needs for web security protocols. Three main goals of security: confidentiality, integrity, and availability are discussed in detail. These three security goals are the foundation of all security protocols. Usually, the communication protocol used for websites and web applications is HTTP, which is an unsecure protocol, and web designers will have to implement security measures at the application level only. HTTPS is the secure version of the HTTP protocol and is an extension of HTTP. SSL/TLS are two secure protocols introduced in HTTPS to make it secure. SSL/TLS ensures integrity, security, and strength of web exchanges. Unauthorized modification. Another protocol discussed is Secure Electronic Transaction, which is designed for e-commerce websites, web applications to ensure secure electronic payments through debit and credit cards. Communication during the complete transaction process is encrypted, authentication and integrity are supported, and card details are safeguarded from being disclosed and misused by merchants and hackers. PGP is another protocol used for email security. Encryption, digital signature, authentication, and key management are salient features of PGP. Another protocol is Internet Key Exchange, IKE, which is a key management protocol for establishing a security affiliation, SA, with the help of IPsec protocol. IKE and IPsec work together to provide authentication, key exchange, and secure connection between two entities. Radius is an Internet standard that provides unified validation, bookkeeping, and IP administrations for remote access clients in a dial-up network. Radius is a client-server application layer protocol and can use TCP or UDP. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we will see you with the next chapter.